Now, get this, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the page, donate to the Cash App, which is Carcino. This stuff here is crazy. Diddy sales gets raided by the government as they go into his cell looking for one thing and one thing only. Mm, mm, mm. Well, straight like that, we keep it moving. Oh, yes. I didn't understand for the life of me why certain things were moving in the direction it was. It didn't even compute that they were doing something that was rather sneaky, deceptive, against code. And none of the people around or involved were saying anything other than. Now, we got to find out what's going on. Days before Diddy is about to get bail on the 22nd, the prosecution is upset about this. They coming up there like, whoa, wait a minute. He's still trying to tamper with witnesses. They come and raid his cell, come get notes. The whole nine. Now, that's Gilbert Arenas talking about Kwame Brown's thing. I'm like, look, go deal with that. I'll deal with this.
The music mogul committed some unspeakable acts. And now they're saying that he's engaging in witness tampering from behind bars. How do they know that? Well, through evidence that Diddy's attorneys say the feds should never have been able to obtain. They are accusing federal prosecutors of what they call outrageous misconduct. Personal notes that allegedly contain attorney-client defense strategies were seized from Diddy's New York jail cell. Combs' legal team calls that search a violation of his constitutional rights, and they're demanding an evidentiary hearing. Not so fast, though. Prosecutors defend the seizure. They say the notes were obtained during a nationwide pre-planned sweep of multiple prison facilities. They claim the notes were reviewed by a filter team, someone not involved in the case, to remove privileged materials before they were turned over to prosecutors. Now, prosecutors are arguing the notes that they got contain evidence that Diddy may have tried to influence witnesses, alleging that he paid a witness after making a public statement. Diddy's team strongly denies these allegations. This development comes as Diddy, who has pleaded not guilty to sex trafficking, racketeering, and related charges, is set to appear in court Friday. This would be his third attempt to be released on bond. The case is now raising serious questions about due process and pretrial detainee rights. To clear up some of these questions for us, Joey Jackson, criminal defense attorney and CNN legal analyst.
Now, right away, How did he get a cell phone? You're right. Hit the like button, y'all. Like you said, 27 likes. Yeah, hit the like button. We know y'all just got here, so please hit the like button up. Oh, yeah, it's major problems. You see, here's the main problem. The defense got a right to be upset. The feds are violating every rule in this case because their case is thin. If their case had any type of legs, they wouldn't even care about all this. What are they talking about? Like Diddy's in there with a cell phone, or Diddy got a tablet. Yo, I'm hitting him up. Yo, just Diddy. Yeah, I know you thought I'm locked up. That don't matter. You ain't going to court. Now, if Diddy's out there doing something as stupid as that, then he deserves to be locked up till the case is heard. If he's out there contacting witnesses and thinking the rules still don't apply to him until he gets out and let the legal team do their work, but to actually invade a man's cell, try to take his notes that he's going to need for his case when you're the ones that's going up against him, that's not right. You're legally handcuffing this man. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. They know what they're doing. That's why they're keeping the people confused.
Joey, just to remind everybody, allegations are not, is not a conviction. And Diddy is presumed innocent until proven guilty. But the big question here is it legal for the prosecutors to seize personal notes from a pre-trial detainee, even if a filter team has gone through them and taken out anything privileged? And also explain what a filter team is first, if you could.
Yeah, so Jake, this discussion, no matter whether you love Diddy, don't like him, think he's guilty, think he's not guilty, that's not the issue. The issue is the propriety of the conduct of the government as alleged. Everyone is entitled to a fair trial. Now, the first question comes, well, should the government have been searching his cell? Do they have these searches in jails? Is that appropriate? I think the general answer is yes. They're going to have searches of various detainee cells for safety reasons and other reasons. So as a result of that, expect and anticipate that your cell will be searched. The next question becomes, well, if there's information with respect to that search that deals with your case, that is attorney work product, right? Not attorney work product, but certainly attorney client. When you go, when you're visiting a client in a jail, you have discussions about your case, about witnesses, about strategy, about issues. You may take notes or do anything you like, either with your attorneys or when you go back. Now, if the government has gotten that specific information, the answer becomes, well, why and how? That leads me to the question about a filter team. If you get information, and it could be attorney-client privilege, right? You should have the right to speak to your attorney about everything and anything, but it should be filtered. There are a government team. In fact, the Department of Justice created a team in 2020 to do just this, filter information, so that that team is not part of the case, not part of the prosecution. You look for attorney-client privilege information, you parse it out, then you give it to prosecutors. What was the process followed? What was the protocol followed? Was it followed properly or appropriately? We don't know. That's why a hearing is necessary. That should never get into the hands of prosecutors. It's unfair, it's inappropriate, shouldn't happen, and that raises serious questions. That's what a filter team did. Did they abdicate their responsibility? We'll see at a hearing.
Exactly. Listen to what he just said. A filter team is supposed to come in and do that. Why are they doing that? That raises a lot of red flags, and that's why a hearing has to be called, because that is illegal. How many illegal things in violating the law that the law is supposed to be doing to Diddy? And y'all still riding this roller coaster of, oh, the law is right. Diddy's a bad guy. He's a monster. The monster is showing you who they are. It's a violation of civil and human rights. That man has attorney, lawyer privilege. And if that information that he is sharing on those notes, you should not have those notes. As the prosecution, you should not have those notes. This case should be dismissed. Diddy should be released right now, and they have stepped all over this case. New York City has made a mockery of this whole system, and they've exposed themselves of being corrupt, racist, sexist, everything. No, the case was thin to begin with. We were sitting here saying it the whole time. This case is thin. Then this one woman had to identify herself. The judge said, well, we're going to drop this case unless you identify yourself. So now she refiled and identified herself. Now she didn't identify herself. You might as well throw the case away. This chick is like the hooker of Bakersfield. Yeah, men get it. Remember I used to do this? Ooh, baby. Remember I used to be like this. Do-wop, do-wop. I was like, she's a mess. She's a wreck. Of course, they telling her she gonna get some money, making her promises. Of course, she gonna say anything they want. See, this is a problem because I'm thinking past Diddy. See, Diddy's got celebrity and fame. So this is gonna be on the news, this is gonna be on TV, this is gonna be everywhere. What happens when this goes outside of the parameters that they've set? What happens when this goes beyond Diddy? What happens when this goes beyond somebody with means? This gonna happen to you and nobody gonna give a damn. You're gonna be locked up, getting mistreated, government's raiding your cell. No one's gonna want to hear your story. Because they're going to be like, well, hell, they did the same thing to Diddy. What's the difference with you? See, they don't care. And as long as they don't care, you, my friend, are an anomaly to them. Yeah, it's a problem. It's always a problem when it's us. You ever notice that? It's always a problem when it's us. Now it's a problem, when before it wasn't. Oh, it never was. I take my blood pressure. Nah. Mm-hmm.
This all coming on the heels, of course, of a recent court filing where prosecutors were citing jail phone records They claim that Diddy used the phone accounts of at least 8 inmates to evade monitoring and to make calls that they allege are also witness tampering. How does his defense team respond to that as they're trying to get Diddy released on bond?
Listen, that's a question of fact, and either the government has the goods on that and he was attempting to do it or not. That's an allegation. That's something else that could be addressed at a hearing or not addressed. But I think the main and core question is, if you have materials that's prepared with your defense lawyers, how do prosecutors get that? Should prosecutors have gotten that? Should the defense team have been given notice to object to that prior to it being given to prosecutors? And so again, no matter what you believe in as guilt, we have to have a process where people believe, where the people believe in their government and their government's not going to overreach. And I think there's a critical question here that'll be determined not by me, but at a hearing as to whether or not those protocols were followed, whether the search team or filter team followed the appropriate steps and parsed out the information that they should have.
All right.
That's right. That is absolutely correct. That guy said the truth right there. As they have violated this man's constitutional rights, civil rights, human rights, they've done nothing right. All of his rights have been violated because they know they're looking stupid. Their case is thin. This thing should have never been prosecuted. They have so many people walking in, lying, making up cases just to try to get some money out of Diddy. Now, if they want to continue down this road, that would be on them. It'll be an unfortunate situation, but the way this is going, you can see right now that they are nervous that Diddy was finna get out and then they can't have no access to the information for the trial anymore. See, they had to the 20th to come up with reasons to keep Diddy in there and to contest his bail hearing. So they had to run and come up with something real quick to say, look, this man is still trying to contact witnesses. Everything is going to be compelling until it's not. But what you can't do is come in there and violate another man's rights. You can't come in there and violate another man's civil rights just because you want to win the case, because you feel he's guilty. If you feel he's guilty, your job is to do your job.
Where to even begin when it comes to the prosecution's new...
And now Law and Crime has made a killing on the internet and social media based off of their own perceptions of Diddy. That's not a 100% truth. Most of it is theoretical, but they're making a killing. But the problem is when you take all the things that you hear on the internet as fact, and then you just run with it, and then it gets reckless journalism, a bad name. It really gets reckless. And now you got all these people coming out of the woodwork with all these accusations on Diddy. Oh, he's been doing this since 94. He's been doing this since 93. Diddy's this, Diddy did that. You can't break the law and saying you upholding the law. That's an oxymoron that they can't do, and it's hypocritical to say that's what you're doing. Absolutely. Now, most of these guys are just talking, and they're talking about law and what could have been and what should have been. and all of these things. There's a lot of people that worked with Diddy that was disgruntled. There's a lot of people that are caught in a situation where people have mentioned right. Kalina Harper, they're mad at her because she didn't take the girl's side. She basically took Diddy's side. And she didn't. She didn't take a side at all. This is her actual statement. I acknowledge the recent lawsuit filed. What's he said? Filed by Don Richards, in which my name has been mentioned 33 times. While I fully respect Don's right to her accounts for her experiences, I want to emphasize that her accounts reflect her personal perspective and should not be interpreted as a universal truth applied to everyone involved. Meaning, don't blame me or throw me in your lawsuit. Don't throw me in your lawsuit. That's what she's saying. Don't throw me in your lawsuit. It's clear as day. Because that's the reality of it. Well, that's society for you. Society's going to say, hey, this is what we got on the table. You either with it or you're not with it. Well, hey. Yeah. Everybody know that the facts in this case, if they had a case, we're supposed to have other people added to the case, right? You got 5 more months to the case in December. If you're going to add some people to the case, shouldn't you be doing that by now? Why is it taking so long? It's about to be Thanksgiving. You 6 months away from trial. The defense going to need time to prep and get ready. They're always going to come up with a narrative to try to make Diddy look bad. They're going to come out with a narrative to try to make everybody in right. They're going to make everybody look like the guilty party. No, because people don't see what's on the table and what is presented in front of them. Now, if Diddy's legal team found some infractions that didn't make a lot of sense, which they did, they found a lot of holes in their story. Their main witness is Cassie. We all know that, even though they haven't named it, still calling her victim one. Okay, victim one is the only reason this case is in New York City. Why is it not? You raided Miami and California. Why is it not in the state of California or in the state of Miami or state of Florida, rather? You wanted it in New York so that you could manipulate it to be what you want it to be. We know how the law system works there. Oh man, this legal system, man, is crazy. And with this whole thing playing out the way that it is, everybody gets to see exactly what's on the scope for the whole layout for the particulars. Yeah, because you want to understand something. Right. If you want to understand something like what's going on in the case, looking at mostly the news is not going to help you. It's not going to help you. They'll give you the basis, and then they're going to give you their theory. I'm telling you, and I'm not even a lawyer. I knew this was weird and was all over the place because of the way the rules and the progressions were going. I said, wait a minute. That's not even the way this should go. They're breaking rules. And once I start seeing them break rules, I'm just like, okay, they're going to do what they want to do. And then, like I told you, the Jonathan Major situation made it very easy. Yeah. I mean, I'm standing up for the trial. Like, if a man is being mistreated like this is a mistrial. This is a complete mistrial. Oh yeah. That's because people didn't realize what was actually transpiring and taking place. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they call it outrageous government conduct because they're using materials that's seized in the jail riot. Right? Let's take a look. Oh, look at that. See? So you see what I see, right? They want to keep him incarcerated before the May trial. They said the information gathered in a raid on Cohn's cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn was cited in papers the government's filed in Manhattan federal court on Friday in a bid to keep the music mogul locked up before his May 5th trial. This is a matter of grave concern that mostly respectfully must be addressed immediately. The lawyers told Judge Aram Subramanian, who they just pulled up here, they got him on this case, who already has scheduled a bail hearing for Friday. Then they requested an immediate hearing so prosecutors can explain who authorized the search of Diddy's cell where personal effects and paperwork were seized. Later Monday, prosecutors responded to the claims with a letter to the judge saying that the inspection of Cohn's cell was part of a jail-wide safety-related sweep, unrelated to Diddy or his prosecution. This is some bullshit. They said the search was planned before Combs was arrested and was properly carried out with an investigator who entered Combs' cell and decided to not examine a manila envelope labeled legal that was in his cell. This is some bull, and y'all reading it live. Live. They wrote a letter to the judge trying to get the judge on their side. Is that what you think about me naked dancing in a basement? What the hell wrong with this man? You got some weird fantasies, dude. Did he already have a phone? They probably had him a phone in there legally for his legal case. But we don't know the particulars of that part yet because we ain't gotten to that part yet. All we know is that the defense counsel, because they went and filed they went and filed to say that Diddy shouldn't be released. So they had the judge in there right away. Without a shadow of a doubt, they had to get the judge in there. The defense counsel has recently learned that the prosecutors are in possession of attorney-client privilege material, including the defendant's own written notes. This search and seizure are in violation of his 4th, 5th, and 6th Amendment rights. Moreover, the targeted seizure is part of a pretrial detainee work product and privileged materials created in preparation for a trial. It's outrageous government conduct amounting to a substantial due process violation. Because the prosecutors are currently in possession of privileged materials and are actively using this material to detain the defendant, the defense requests an immediate and evidentiary hearing, meaning that they got to have an explanation about this defense and find out what happened to this evidence because they shouldn't have it. Mr. Combs privileged notes to his lawyers concerning defense witnesses and defensive strategies. The government's opposition to the defendant's bail motion states that the trial prosecutions are currently in possession of possibly privileged materials such as notes. In fact, the government is in possession of written materials that is absolutely privileged. This is a matter of grave concern. And they said, most respectfully, this must be addressed immediately for the following reasons. First, there is no dispute that the government is in possession of privileged material. Second, until receiving the government's submission at 11:29 p.m. on Friday, November. So, yes, they wrote their letter saying that, then the government came back saying this is a matter of grave concern. And all of these things here, and they saying that one, there's no proof that the government has possession of these privileged materials. And second, that until receiving the government submission at 11:29 p.m. on Friday, November the 15th, 2024, the defense have never been told that Mr. Combs' notes was taken from his cell, that these notes was given to a U.S. attorney's office, and these notes were given to the trial prosecutor in this case, who then used materials in a filing to keep Mr. Combs detained. We request an immediate hearing at which the government shall provide answers for the following question. First, who authorized the search of Mr. Combs' sleeping area, personal effects, and paperwork? They want this done in front of the judge because all of this looks malicious. All of this looks malicious beyond compare. I mean, seriously, they started right off. They want to know that. And he's like, secondly, who determines what paperwork to take? Which is a normal question, right? You should have somebody that's in there whose their job is to handle certain materials in between the case. Anybody that's prosecuting the case shouldn't be allowed to touch any evidence when the client is in there with his lawyer and have privileges to things in there that the client would need, especially notes, things that would hurt his defense. Right? Third, who decided to give the paperwork to the United States Attorney's Office? So why does the USAA has this information? The AUSA has this. That's crazy. Who made that decision? This is a mistrial. Fourth, who decided to give this paperwork to the trial prosecutor? Fifth, because that's the first thing. Let's stop there. The trial prosecutor. Who made that decision? Who made it that it would be the decision not to give the information to anybody else outside of the trial prosecutor? Now, thank you for that. Who made that a decision? Who said, you know what would be a very good decision here? If we was to hand this over to the government. If your case is so solid, you don't do stuff like this. That's what I'm saying. Anybody else saw something like this, they would freak out. No. Because they don't really understand exactly the parameters of what people are laying out before them. Now, all these accusations of what they said they got and all that, who will believe you now? Because if you had all this, why are you going through this extreme? Saying, oh, this is a scheduled raid before Diddy was even arrested. Oh, really? So it was a scheduled raid for you to take the information and then hand the information over to the U.S. Attorney's Office. I smell a rat. Fifth, who made the decision to not tell Diddy's lawyers that the U.S. attorney was in possession of his notes, including possible privileged materials, until after the government put them in a filing to keep him incarcerated? Who made that the case? Who made that the note? When has that become the narrative that we take? When has that been street legal? When we start doing that? That's what I don't know. When has that been okay? That's what we're going to do now? Yeah, it came out all right. My blood pressure's all right. After the Bears game, I had to go to bed. My blood pressure is going to go through the roof. And number 6, exactly what material was taken. Because the U.S. attorney, and it seems quite trial prosecutors are currently in possession of privileged materials. We will request a full evidentiary hearing as soon as the court can accommodate us. Respectfully submitted by Diddy's team. Because now this whole thing has gotten crazy. Now you're looking at mistrial. Why are you risking a mistrial? That is a grave matter of concern. Well, of course, Damian Williams is the face of this thing. Well, they put out a note saying that they had these possible privilege material that could keep Diddy locked up that they got from a raid. So if you did a raid of his cell and got materials that's privileged to the case, you're in violation. How did that information get to you? You're not supposed to have that.
It's my deep appreciation for the victims and witnesses who have used their voices and helped bring this criminal conduct to light. We would not be here without them. I also want to thank the dedicated case agents on the HSI Trafficking in Person Squad in New York. They have been with us since day one and have worked.
Yeah, what up? They ain't been with me since day one. Nah. Yeah, well, see, when you put it all in perspective, then people, their amnesia go away. Most of these people are what you would call clowns. All right? Clowns. And they gonna do whatever they can in the situation to try to make and Diddy had a shame. I'll be like, well, where did Mr. Combs get the shank?
Significant penalties.
Good afternoon, Darla Miles, ABC7 New York. Thank you for this press conference and for the details. 2 questions. In context of this indictment and the information that was presented to the grand jury, are you able to clarify the number of victims? It's mentioned plural in the indictment, but can you specify the number of victims just for this particular indictment? And secondly, can you provide details about the alleged arson?
Unfortunately, I'm not able to provide either. The number of victims, you are correct. We are intentional in saying multiple. The details of the arson incident are limited to what we have in the indictment and also the detention letter that we filed. which contains more details than the indictment does at various points. But we don't have anything more beyond that. Next question.
Lynn Tran, CNN.
Are any of his accomplices or associates under investigation? And additionally, could he face any more charges?
So the investigation is ongoing. That means both as to him and to anyone else who we believe committed the crime with him. Next question.
Juliet Papa.
Hi, good morning from 1010 Wins. Any indication that some of the women or victims here were imprisoned in his residences, and did he have locations where he kept them, and they were not allowed to leave? And also, he's indicted here, although there were searches and raids in LA, Miami. Why in New York?
Well, I'm biased. I'm the U.S. Attorney in the Southern District of New York. I think that we have an outstanding track record of bringing some of the most impactful, sprawling, complex, difficult sex trafficking, human trafficking, labor trafficking, you name it. The Southern District of New York can do it, and so we're very proud of that. And so the scope and complexity of this investigation isn't something that we ran from. It's something that we embrace, and we will continue to do that. As to your question about whether he imprisoned anyone, all I can say is that, I mentioned this March 2016 incident where something was caught on video where a victim was attempting to flee, and there was violence that was associated with it.
Was that at the residence or at the hotel?
That was at a hotel.
Matthew Lee, Inner City Press.
Thanks a lot. Does your office intend to seek remand, or are you reaching a bail package? And if you're willing, how would you contrast this with the R. Kelly case in EDNY in terms of the elements? Thanks.
So we will be seeking detention. We have filed a letter laying out our reasoning for seeking pretrial detention. I'm not going to be able to expand beyond what's in the letter, but it contains all of the reasoning, and it contains the law as well. There is a presumption of detention in a case like this, and we think that's warranted.
John Anise, New York Daily News.
Thank you. I was hoping to get some more detail about the searches of his residence, the guns, the cases of lubricant, and the videos. Where were they found amongst his residence? Were they all scattered around the houses in one place? So I kind of wanted to just get a better picture of how that stuff was found.
Well, look, I think that some of the details that you're seeking are in the detention letter. So, for instance, some of the AR-15s, 2 of the 3 defaced AR-15s were found in his bedroom closet in Miami, broken down into parts along with magazines with ammunition loaded in them. So some of that detail is in the detention letter. Beyond that, I'm not going to be able to get into where other items were stored.
Ben Kochman, Post.
Hey, thanks for doing this. Your office was the office that had been prosecuting Jeffrey Epstein before he died in custody. I have not read your detention memo yet. It's the first thing I'm going to do after this ends. But does the memo address, or is your office concerned with Combs's safety in custody, given what happened with Epstein?
No, they're not concerned with his safety. If they did, they wouldn't have raided his cell. So they letting everything be known how they plan on proceeding moving forward. Mm-hmm. So y'all already know what it is. So I'm gonna get up out of here and finish watching this Monday Night Football game, which is an embarrassment right now. But I'm out. Shouts out to Welcome to HD IITV, Kwame Brown, Bus Life, Dreamers Pro, and we out the